You guys getting that? So I want to put that out there because I want people to understand, especially in the kingdom of God, you're freer than you act.
There you go.
You're freer than you act. And we've got work to do. You know, we've got to work while the day is now because the night is coming. There is going to come a time when people are going to go to hell. I know some of you may not believe that, but it's going to happen. You know what I mean? And you could have had the opportunity, and this isn't to make you feel guilty. If anything, to say, get off your behind and start working. All right? All right? But you could have had the opportunity to help that person at least have the chance to make a decision in a different direction. And you may say, well, who am I? What do I have? You are a son or a daughter of God. How much greater can you get? Do you guys hear me? There's nothing higher for us than to be his son or his daughter. Somebody better grab that. You're the only ones, you that are born again, that call him Father. No other creation calls him Father. That's the privilege you have. You know? Yeah, Rachel, I know your name. I know. I'm keeping you awake. I had to sign her book, so I made sure. And so I got her name in my head now, and so when I talk. And if I get your name in my head, you're going to be coming up with my conversation. Before I get going, I want one more thing said. I told you last night I have family in the area, and my cousin came to hear me. Connie is her name, and she's back there in the back. Connie, I'm going to ask you to stand because you're like carrying that call. She's my first cousin. I don't really know what that means, but she's my first cousin. Okay. I mean, it's probably one removed over, you know. Her father was also my dad's brother, so we're cousins. I'm going to show a short video. In this video, there's a reason for showing it. I like to tell my agenda. I don't like anyone to think I'm trying to trick them into anything. Okay? I want you to know what I'm doing and why I'm doing it. I'm showing this video because it shows the doctor that was actually in the room with my heart stopped for an hour and 45 minutes. I have people all the time saying, I don't know if you really died. You know, did you really die? And I always tell people, I can prove I died. That's the easy part. I've had so many people investigate me, you know, and go through the medical records, and they say, yeah, the man died. Most of the medical people, when they go through it, say, if you didn't die of that, you should have died of that. And if you didn't die of that, you should have died of that. They know it better than I do of what I should have died of. Hour and 45 minutes, that's what the medical records say. That's not me coming out with thinking, okay, we'll add this together, we'll add that together, and it'll come out to an hour and 45 minutes. That's what the medical records say. My heart and my lungs were not operating. I was considered what you call clinically dead, all right, for that time frame. Someone said, well, why didn't they sign their death certificate? Number one, Dr. Rigge, which you'll see in this show, he worked on me longer than he usually would work on somebody. He said he usually works on someone for 30 minutes, and then he gives up, and that's it. All right? But for whatever reason, he went another 30 minutes, another 30 minutes. You guys get this? You know, for whatever reason. I really believe it's because my wife and others were praying. That's why I found out the last 30 minutes he really did stop working on me, and he was filling out the paperwork to say I was dead. But guess what? Someone showed back up in the room. I didn't know that until recently. Someone read the medical record and said, well, these last 30 minutes, they weren't working on you. And it made sense because when I came back in the room from that place, I remember no one was around the body that I was settling into. I just thought, oh, maybe I just didn't understand what they were doing. Well, they were done with me. You guys get this? So my heart stopped for an hour and 45 minutes. I didn't have no blood or oxygen going through this body for that long a time. I was also what you consider brain dead because my brain was not operating. I was also what you considered biologically being dead. I found out after 17 minutes your body starts deteriorating because it has no blood or oxygen going through it, and you move into the next frame of death, which they call being biological dead. That means things are falling apart. My toes had died. Wow. They had planned on cutting off all 10 of my toes, but you know what your God did? Healed all 10 of my toes. You know? That's your God. That's what he does. Don't be shocked. That's who he is. He can do that. You know, I remember Marilyn, after I got home, she was rubbing them. I had them soaking in some water, and she was rubbing them and praying in tongues. We do that. And I was praying in tongues, and the next thing you know, all this black skin, it looked like, I don't want to ruin anybody's image of hot dogs, but you know how you burnt your hot dogs out? You know how you have your hot dogs real burnt and all crusty and everything? That's what it looked like. And she's rubbing them and praying, and I'm praying, and we see the black skin come off. The dark stuff come off like ashes. And I have brand new toes.
Ashes.
And then I had to walk around like this for a while, because the toes were so sensitive to the ground.
Wow.
All I could think is, that's how baby toes are probably. You know? But God healed everything, from the top of my head to the bottom of my toes, everything.
Healing,
You know,
healing.
the man you're seeing before you has been investigated by so many people. They always come up with the conclusion, the man died. He was dead. You know, some may say, nah, I don't know if it was an hour and 45 minutes. I don't, but it doesn't matter. The man was dead. Do you understand what I mean? He was dead. And I'm going to show this video, but I want to set it up. I want you to hear the doctor that was actually from Dr. Reggae. And the reason I'm putting that out there, because I want to say some things, but I have to get some of you over the hump that believe the man was dead. Do you understand what I mean?
Yeah.
So I have to bring in an expert, Dr. Reggae. You can look him up. He was rated in the top 10 doctors in the state of Washington after this happened.
Wow.
He was rated as the #1 patient care doctor in the state of Washington after this happened. If I was on the East Coast, I would have to tell you there's more doctors than 10 in Washington state. But in the Midwest, you guys know that. You know? But the reality of it is this, you guys. He wasn't the one that caused the issue. He was the one that was called in to clean up the mess. I had a kidney stone. It was stuck on my right side. They called it kidney infection. They gave me antibiotics to kill the kidney infection, but they didn't go back to make sure it was gone. So when they blasted the stone, they sent the poison into my bloodstream. And I became what you call what? Septic. That means everything in this body started shutting down
Whoa.
or dying. What really went first was my lungs. I suffocated.
Wow.
Just to let you know that. But we're going to show that right now. Right now. Go ahead. Are you waiting for me to move? All right. Couldn't catch my breath. It was getting shallower and shallower, and I could remember saying to myself, I am dying.
And then his blood pressure dropped.
And I looked at the doctor and I said, what's wrong with him?
His heart stopped.
And he says, well, we need to intubate your husband right now, or else he could die.
And then we started doing the chest compressions.
Dean Braxton's system was shutting down. It started as a routine procedure to remove a kidney stone. Now he was dying. Dr. Manuel Irigi was on duty in the critical care unit at St. Francis Hospital in Federal Way, Washington. He explains what went wrong.
As it turns out with him, the antibiotic that he received was not good for the bacteria. It was resistant.
Dean's body went into multi-organ failure, and his heart flatlined. Dr. Irigi's team worked furiously to revive him. Dean's wife, Marilyn, prayed.
I did say to the Lord, I said, Lord, you said in your word that you've come to give Dean life and life abundantly, and I claim that abundant life for him.
At times, the unit was in chaos as they worked to save Dean's life. But he was experiencing something very different.
I wasn't afraid. It was like, I'm going home.
Dean believes he went to heaven.
When I first entered in, it was just bright. It wasn't so much what I saw as much as what I experienced. The first thing I received was, everything is right. There's nothing wrong here. And I said, it's past peace. You know, there's a scripture in the Bible, in Philippians, the 4th chapter, that says, peace past understanding. That's what's going on there. It's landscape with more because everything's alive. Nothing's dead. I don't mean just live like grass. I mean, it's intelligent, it can move, it thinks. And someone says, well, that's way out there. It was way out there for me. I'll tell you the truth.
We got a pulse.
Dean says he felt like he was being pulled back into his body. Then he flatlined a second time. Again, he was in heaven. This time, he saw Jesus.
The first thing that comes to me is he's bright, just like John says, he's brighter than the noonday sun. And the next phrase I say, I wish people could grab it, and it's this one, and we can look at him. And what you're looking at is not so much the physical part of it. You're really experiencing the love he has for you. And I tell people it's like he only loves you and no one else. I saw him communicating to angels. He would just look at them. Communication there was thought to thought. They would acknowledge his receiving his information, bow before him like this, and then back out. And it was like, wow.
Dean admits he didn't want to come back.
And I don't tell you the truth. I was happy. I was planning on staying, and people always say, didn't you love your wife, your children? Yes, I love them probably more than I ever could. But I was thinking, you come here where everything is right.
Then Dean saw family he hadn't seen in a long time.
And yet, on the other side of Jesus was my family, my grandmother Mary, but with her were other relatives. And some I had recognized. I had been on this planet when they were here. But then there was generation after generation after generation after generation of those that accepted Jesus Christ as Lord and Savior, that helped to produce me on this planet. They came to greet me in. And it was like, God.
While Dean was in heaven, Marilyn continued asking God for a miracle.
I purposed in my heart that whatever the outcome, I was going to follow God all the way.
After an hour and 45 minutes, Dean came back with a weak but steady heart rate. But the bacteria had done a lot of damage, and he had to go on dialysis.
I did not think he was going to survive. In a way, I told his wife that, now we have just to pray and wait, because there's nothing else I can do.
I believe in healing. I believe that God is a healer. And I was trusting God for Dean's healing.
3 days later, Dean woke up.
He was so eager. We got to get people saved. We got to let people know about Jesus.
Despite doctors' concerns that Dean's prolonged ordeal would leave him impaired or even worse, there are no signs that Dean even had a brush with death. He's the picture of health. In fact, the staff at St. Francis Hospital dubbed him the Miracle Man.
It's a miracle that he's alive. There is no question about it. It is a miracle. There's somebody alive, that he's talking, that he has no brain damage. But this is very exceptional, because he was really, really dead for one time.
So what does a man do who's experienced heaven and still wants to be there? Dean says Jesus told him something that keeps his feet firmly planted.
I felt like he was saying, I need you there, or did I need you here? And I came to understand then how important it was for me to complete what God had put me on this planet to do. The bottom line is, until I'm finished here, and I cannot go back home. I tell people most of the time, I'm on my way home. Don't get me wrong, I'm on my way home. This is the pathway my Father says I have to go to get home. Praise the Lord. Thank you, Jesus. So the agenda on that was to show you, so you saw the doctor that was actually in the room when my heart stopped for an hour and 45 minutes. He wasn't the doctor that caused the issue. He was the one that was called in to clean up the mess. And like I said, his name is Dr. Rigge. You can check with him. One time I came here a few years ago, and the Church of Nazarene, which is the headquarters here in Olathe, I believe. They came, many of them came, and they literally called him up and asked him, was I really dead? And he told them, yeah, the man was really, really dead. They've been debating ever since then, should I come back and speak at the college here about my experience. Some of the people there support me greatly to this day from the Church of Nazarene. And then some think, oh, that really couldn't really happen. So they've been debating it for I don't know how many years now, 4 or 5 years, whether I should come here and speak it to the college. At one time, they were going to have me Skype in and do it, but then it didn't, for some reason, it didn't happen. I couldn't tell you why it didn't happen. But that's okay. You know what I mean? You know, I don't get upset at any of that stuff because you got to understand something, you guys. All those things you get upset about here on the planet, when you get there, you're not going to remember them any old way.
Right.
You know, that person that said that to you that you didn't like, and they're brother and sister, guess what? When you get to heaven, you guys ain't going to remember it any old way. So some of you guys will go ahead and forget it now. Seriously, just to let you know that. But I like showing that because Dr. Rigay said that the man was really, really dead. You know what I mean? So I always tell people I can prove I died. I want you to understand that I was born again. I knew Jesus Christ as Lord and Savior. You know what I mean? I had the Holy Spirit residing on the inside of me. I went where Christians are supposed to go. When you leave your body, you that are born again, you're supposed to be with the Father in Jesus. That's the norm. That's what is supposed to happen to you. Coming back is a whole different issue. I know some of you say, well, wow, you're so lucky you got to go, or you're so blessed you got to go. I'm going to tell you something. Coming back to the planet isn't the blessing you think it is. This place got a lot of issues. I was in a place where there was no issues at all. Everything was right. And you know what the greatest thing about it was? I fit. Seriously, whether you realize it or not, you that are born again, you are created for rightness, not wrongness.
Right.
That's why you can't get along with some things, because it's wrong and you're out of place.
Amen.
Here I was, where everything was right. Not according to what I say is right, but according to what Jesus says is right, and I fit.
Amen.
Is that good news, you guys?
Yeah.
So I say that to people because sometimes people think it's such a blessing that I got to go to heaven and come back. And it is a blessing in the sense that I got to go to heaven. Coming back, I'm telling you. Now, my wife did tell me the next time she ain't praying me back. Our lives change. I know some of you would want your husband to go to heaven and come back. But I'm going to tell you, they're going to be the same. You don't think the same. There's things on this planet that many of you are tied to, I'm not tied to.
Wow.
And I can't be tied to them. And guess what? The reality, I know this, Dan, you're really not tied to them. You think you are. You guys hear what I just said?
Yeah.
Because the day that you accepted Jesus Christ as Lord and Savior, then you accepted what he did on that cross, and he said that he took all those things that you were tied to and separated them from you.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm just letting you know that.
Yeah.
You know, one of them is dying.
Yeah.
None of you in the room that are born again will die.
Right.
Well, what do you mean didn't you die? No, my body died. The real me never died.
Amen.
When I became a Christian, I entered into that eternal existence, and guess what? I will live forever. I will never die. That's why last night when I was talking to Dan, and I say this to a lot of places I go, get used to this face, you will see it forever. You get born again, you might as well get used to each other, you will see each other forever. You know? I'm just letting you know that. Your body will die, but you'll never die.
Right.
When I left this body, I didn't look back and say, man, Lord, I got to bring him with me. I'm just letting you know that. Didn't even miss it. Someone better grab what I just said there. You know, I'm not saying don't eat right. I'm not saying don't exercise. I'm not saying don't have a Fitbit. 2004. You know what I mean? And the reason I do it because I want to be as healthy as I can on the planet so I can do what God wants me to do. Because the life that I live on this planet is very short compared to eternity.
That's right.
Somebody better grab what I just said. But the reality of it is that you might as well get used to it. You don't die. Your body does. Your body really does. And that's what Jesus Christ did. He died on that cross so that when that moment comes upon you, you would not die. Your body will. And when you leave. My Bible says this in John, the 14th chapter, 1 through 6. Let your heart be troubled. You believe. Most Christians out there right now, they don't believe that you will go to heaven when you die. They believe you go in the ground, stay in the ground for a while, then the trumpet will sound and then rise. But guess what? They born again, they going any old way. know why I said that? Because I want people to know it's out of their hands. So many people are working to get there, trying to do this to get there, trying to do that to get there, and guess what? They go any old way. When I left my body, I went to where Jesus said I was supposed to be. Where was that? Where he is. Where is he? He's with the Father in heaven.
Amen.
You guys getting this?
Yeah.
And where I go, you know, and the way you know. Thomas said to him, Lord, we do not know where you're going. How can we know the way? Jesus said, I'm the way, the truth, and the life. Let me go back. The truth and the life. No one comes to the Father except through me. Let me tell you what that really says to me. There's only one way. There is no other way.
Right.
And there's people in the room said, that's your belief system. I said, what? You'll find out. Everybody on the planet, sooner or later, is going to find out. My Bible says every knee will bow, every tongue will confess that Jesus Christ is Lord. Whether you believe me or not, sooner or later, it's going to come out of your mouth. It is whether you believe it or not. A lot of people think it's your belief system. It is
Oh,
not.
God.
I'm not worried about offending people.
Right.
I would rather give them a chance and they get mad at me on the planet. Because when they get there, if they don't know Jesus Christ, they're going to be mad. But it's going to be too late.
Amen.
You guys hear me?
Yes.
That's what it's all about. Your Father